Okay. And I think I can go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Is everyone able to see it? Okay, perfect. So, okay, so I think we can start. We are already 24. Welcome to the Catch Up with EAHP. We're going to be talking a little bit about our newest events, our news, things that happen in the organization, and then we will very briefly have message from people from the staff, and then we will go to the big theme of the webinar, which is going to be carried on by Mina, and we're going to learn a little bit more about our working group on sustainability, environmental and healthcare. So welcome. This is what I was mentioning, a little bit everything that we're going to see in today's webinar. And I leave the floor to our president, Nenad.
Thank you, Berta, for this lovely introduction. It is with great pleasure. I would like to welcome all delegates and members who registered for today's webinar. I'm very happy that EAHP continues with its practice of having catch up with us webinars. And this time the topic is extremely important for every single hospital pharmacist and a patient across Europe, and that's sustainability. I really want to underline that EAHP is trying its best to cover all policy aspects of interest for our patients and our practice. And I'm really, really proud that Mina and Barry led this environmental sustainability group organized by EAHP, prepared an amazing report. And I have to say that this report is distributed across Europe and has its impact because it's been discussed by the policymakers. So I would really like to thank you, Mina, for your passion, your dedication, and your patience with carrying out all the phases within this SIG group, including drafting the final SIG report. I would also like to thank to the staff, which will present an overview of what we are doing in terms of policy and projects. And I really want to dedicate this session to sustainability, so I'm not going to talk more. Let's dive into our daily stuff and then sustainability. And I would just like to say one thing. Whenever we are in the hospital, we should think about every single ampule and a medical device and its impact on our environment. I hope that Mina will help us to understand more this impact and how we can manage that. Thank you so much. I think the floor is yours. The next presenter is...
I will...
Berta. Thank you, Berta.
Okay, thank you, Nenad, for your words. So yes, I'm going to very briefly announce that a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was, we launched finally our new website. It was the work of a lot of months from all the staff, all the board members, and our amazing website developers. We have a completely new look. We more than welcome you to check it out because we have added several new tools that you will be discovering, especially in the upcoming days, weeks, and months. For example, we have a new journal access that it makes it way easier to read every 2 months the journals that hospital pharmacists draft. We're also going to be having a forum where you will be able to discuss on certain topics. And for example, probably later Mina will mention it, in the sustainability working group, it's one thing that we want to start doing to engage more conversations in these topics among healthcare professionals. We have also a new member section where you will be able to draft and to personalize your profile if you're a member, if you're a journal reader, if you are a board member, to make the experience more personalized within the organization. And then you will also see that this forum will apply to each country. So each country will have its own forums to carry on its own discussions and so on, so on. As I always like to mention to everyone that we introduced the new website, it's new. Probably you will find things that we haven't seen, so we are more also than welcome to receive any feedback to keep improving, or maybe change things that could be easier, could be more eye appealing or anything. And that's it from my side. I will leave the floor to Pedro.
Thank you very much, Berta. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Pedro Pereira. I'm the development strategist at EAHP, and I will try to be very succinct in my wording, and try to highlight the most significant events and actions that we are engaging right now. So just a couple of weeks ago, we had the first EHP Boost event that was held in Florence. It was a success, and it was very interesting because the highlights were the presentations and the keynote speakers and the sessions focused on the critical role of automation in hospital pharmacy. So there were a lot of insights by the speakers, namely Hugo and Isabelle Francois, on the future of healthcare technology. There were two very practical workshops, which they explore innovative technologies such as robots, syringe administration. And there was also a very interesting session that I will address later on in my following slides regarding the special interest group roundtable, the kickoff, regarding the improvement of automation and enhancing interoperability in medication processes. And it was a very successful event. We are still basically continuing this process. There will be another EHP Boost in 2025. So this is the first of many, I hope. So thank you for this. Berta, can you please forward? Another important thing that I would like to announce here, it's regarding ECFA, which is a newly independent accreditation body that was founded by EHP and the European Society of Clinical Pharmacy. ECFA is establishing a system of accrediting lifelong learning education. Its mission, of course, is to improve the quality of continuing the education and pharmacy practice in healthcare settings across Europe via accrediting live and online lifelong learning events. So it's a very new accreditation organization. It was founded in 2023, and there is the possibility for eligibility to apply to ECFA accreditation, so it can be an individual pharmacist. I think you should also visit the ECFA website, because although it's not as new as the new EHP website, but it's still new, and you can find a lot of materials there that you can walk through, and it's very important that Berta, can you please follow the next slide as well? Because we are still new, we are still growing as well. So right now we are expanding our network of independent reviewers. So please, we will address this by our social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, and also in our website, the conditions for you to be a reviewer. So it will be very important in the next. We will address this in the next couple of weeks. But it will be very important if you like to join us in reviewing these events. There is a standardized assessment that will be needed, and as a reviewer, you will be playing a very crucial role in ensuring that the accredited educational programs will meet the high standards required to support the professional development of pharmacists and pharmacy technicians and healthcare professionals. Berta, can you please move forward as well? Another very important synergy program in 2024, which will occur in late November, so in 29th, 30th of November in Sheraton, Brussels hotel. DHP is expanding the synergy program with the introduction of the synergy masterclasses, which offer an intensive accredited education of the most pressing topics in hospital pharmacy. So this event will take place in Brussels, and it is expected that in this masterclass, healthcare professionals will learn some tools to shape the future of healthcare, namely strategies to integrate advanced technologies in healthcare, expert insights on hospital management automation, and hands-on on workshops, development, action, business cases. So actually, this will be very important, but because the ones that will participate in this masterclass will learn how to build up business cases that could be very helpful to build up a case in your hospital setting and really promote what is needed and what you think is really fundamental. And this masterclass will be very important because it will teach you how to get there, how to build up a case. And I think it's very important for you to participate. It's on our website as well. You should take a look. It's the registration are open right now, so take a look, and we would be very glad if you could participate. Berta, regarding the SIG, so we have at this point three SIGs that are going. We are still we are kicking up another one, so we will have 4 right now. The first one I would like to talk, it's the SIG on controlled substances management that was launched in 2023. It will soon be closed. So the SIG members develop a survey and country mapping and literature review aim to determine the current situation in Europe around CSM. The current and new technology supporting healthcare professionals to control these substances, understand the regulatory situation and barriers, and develop a set of recommendations to improve the CSM in European hospitals. The report summarizing the results and outlining a set of recommendations is being finalized and will be published soon. So, Berta, can you please move forward? So the second one started in April, early March, April. It's the special interest group on medication errors and efficiency in oncology. So this SIG investigates medication errors in oncology, focusing on their prevalence, causes, and the impact on second victims. The goal is to develop recommendations to reduce errors and improve treatment efficiency across Europe. The SIG will be responsible for steering the investigation and providing research impulses, as well as drafting a final report and recommendations. So this will be an estimated duration of around 18 months. We are still ending phase 1, entering phase 2 right now. So everything is going as planned. So it's a very important topic. Berta, could you please move forward? And like I said, we have a new, it was launched during the Boost event in Florence. So at the EAHP Boost, so we'll launch our first multi-vendor special interest group, which is focused on improving interoperability in hospital pharmacy automation. This is a really groundbreaking project, and because we are doing this at the multiple vendor level. So there will be a unified collaboration between hospital pharmacists and industry experts to tackle the barriers that have slowed down automation in hospitals. So this joint of forces will create a standard communication protocol that will simplify the integration and making automation more accessible and efficient, and potentially it will replicate across the world. So it can be a very game changer. This is a very hot topic right now. It's a very important project. So, and because of that, Berta, can you please pass the slide? That's why we are now calling for hospital pharmacists that want to participate on this. Please send your submission, send your CVs. This is on our new website as well. You can go there. You can check the call for us for this SIG specifically. The deadline for submission is October the 15th, so it's next week. So be very fast and pace, and just send your CV if you are interested in this, and a short motivation statement to that email, which is my personal email at EAHP. So please try to do this as fast as possible. And thank you for listening. Regarding the Congress, sorry, that's the biggest event that will occur in 2025. So the EAHP Congress, as you know, is the second largest event of hospital pharmacies in the world, and the theme will be on person-centered pharmacy, so navigating digital health. So what can we expect? Everything. We can expect the best keynote lectures, insights into opportunities and limitations on digital health, seminars, workshops, ranging from AI, clinical pharmacy, and networking activities. So it will be a very large event. We expect to be a huge success as well. And this is all interconnected, actually. Everything that I've been talking to you about, it's a construction that is being built, and we hope that in Congress and also in Boost 2025 will have its closure as a full year plan regarding automation, digital transformation. So all these topics are interconnected. So please participate heavily. We need your inputs on this, your insights, your collaboration. Without you, our mission is in a way unfulfilled, because we need your help on this as well. So please participate, go to the events, engage in the forums that Berta told you about, and give us insights of what you're thinking, what you're planning, and your contributions are always very taken into account. And thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm Anna, and I'm the policy lead in EAHP. I will quickly provide you with an overview of our policy priorities for these coming years. So for sure, we still have the access to medicines and patient safety, which are at the core of our activities, and they are also related, for instance, concern to HTA. Of course, as you well know already, medicines and medical devices shortages, workforce, as well as including also the recognition, for instance, of the specialization of hospital pharmacists, digital health and innovation, which are particularly important in this period, and AMR, antimicrobial resistance and infection diseases, and of course also mental health and compounding. Next slide, please. So just providing you with a focus on a couple of topics amongst our priorities. There is, of course, medicine shortages, and the European Parliament has approved its position in April, and on the revision of the pharmaceutical legislation. Shortages is part of it. And we also work, of course, we are working now with the Council, permanent representation of the Council, of the member states, and in order to develop our position, we presented amendments, and we also are very much involved in the Critical Medicine Alliance and in discussing potential solutions to, and discussing also on how to prevent shortages with the European Commission, and with other stakeholders. And I will leave the floor to James for a focus on digital health.
So thank you. So hi, I'm James. I'm policy officer at EAHP. And yes, so as mentioned, digital health remains a very important topic for us, as was seen by many events and the focus on Congress. And it's also a big topic on the European level, especially with the many new legislation from the last Commission, which will now move more towards an implementation phase, where a lot of work actually still has to be done. So I'll focus on the three main aspects and the three big legislative files from the Commission. So first, the European health data space will soon enter into force, hopefully by the end of this year or early next year, which will then set new rules for primary use of health data, meaning better access for patients to their own data, and also easier transfer between member states, and secondary use, meaning better access of all this data that is generated by healthcare providers for innovation or public interest purposes. So there will probably be a lot of new projects and new opportunities for stakeholders to give their comments during the implementation phase as well. And this is the same for the Artificial Intelligence Act that has come into force in August and now is implementing as well. And for hospitals, it's especially important as the possible deployers of high-risk AI system, which will require to follow specific new rules, as most AI-enabled medical device will be considered as high risk. And on this aspect, EAHP has also provided some feedback to some multiple recent EU Commission a consultation on AI specifically in healthcare, highlighting the benefits, but also the many challenges that exist with AI, especially with the existing infrastructure of many hospitals, and also the data protection or the explainability of AI, which can be very complicated. So it's many aspects that has to be considered when thinking about AI in healthcare. And finally, and cybersecurity remains a big issue in healthcare, especially as it's still one of the most targeted sector by cyber attacks. So to deal with this, a new commission is expected to release an action plan on cybersecurity within the first 100 days of the new mandate, which will start most likely in December. And there's not much more information on this, but this is something EAHP will continue to monitor. And we hope that it will also align with the many legislation that were released in the last mandate, such as the Network and Information System Directive that has just become applicable. So yes, EAHP will continue to work in digital health as a really important topic for healthcare to ensure that it is effective and inclusive to every healthcare provider and every patient in Europe. And now I will let the the Environmental Sustainability Working Group present their part.
Thank you, James. So yes, this is the first part of the webinar, and now I leave the floor to Mina to talk about the main topic, environmental sustainability. Thank you, Mina.
Berta, thanks for inviting me to give an update on behalf of the Environmental Sustainability Working Group. Next slide, please, Berta. I'm not sure of the backgrounds of our attendees today, so I'll just do a brief outline of why this is a focus for EAHP as an organization. So increasingly worldwide, many scientists have published papers after papers in research urging everyone, including healthcare professionals, to act now to mitigate the potential health impacts of climate change. It will create, problems for pharmacy operations in years to come. It will make our patients sicker through, air pollution and all the associated impacts that is to come, and needing treatments more than ever in our aging population. And reports say that in the world's carbon footprint, 4 to 5% of it is relating to healthcare activities in the system, in comparison to obviously the biggest one is from fossil fuel industry, which is about 70%. So we're the experts in medicine. So looking at the life cycle analysis of pharmaceuticals and medical devices from, manufacturing, packaging, distribution, usage, and disposal. They're all associated with emissions themselves. They have a footprint. So, electricity running these pharmaceutical factories, the vehicles they use to transport medicines, the waste generated from, our polypharmacy use. So therefore, as pharmacists, we have a role to play to reduce this because we are the best people to optimize medicines use. We understand pharmacy operational activities. And globally, we're not alone in this. Globally, every pharmacists worldwide are making progress towards this same agenda. In particular, hospital pharmacists are working on anesthetic gases use and promoting low carbon inhalers. Next slide, please. So in 2022, Roshan O'Hare, who's a currently EAHP board member, and Barry Melia, on behalf of the Guild of Healthcare Pharmacists in the UK, has proposed a statement to the EAHP board members to consider prioritizing this agenda in General Assembly that year. And the board, EAHP, has met and had a discussion and decided to actually, we should set up a working group for this. And, this demonstrates the leadership of EAHP board members on considering, weighing up the evidence and decide, yes, this is something we should be focusing on. And so therefore, EAHP Sustainability Working Group is set up with appropriate terms of reference and a working plan agreed. And some of these include collaborating with organizations that are already working on this subject, like Healthcare Without Harm in Europe. There's a pharmacist network called Safer Pharma Workstream. So we also aim to dedicate a web page on EAHP website for this. And we also hope to find like-minded people, you know, same hospital pharmacists who are passionate about this subject, already leading on this area, and to share with us their knowledge and skills so we can share a wider good practice. These are the flags of some of the countries we have in our sustainability working group at the minute. The flag for Spain is a bit big because we have a lot of representation from the Spanish nation. Next slide, please. So EAHP then ran a survey on environmental sustainability, which our Vice President Daria has led with our scientific committee and EAHP staff. And this publication is available now in our journal. So there were 653 responses to the survey. So we asked if pharmacists feel that they are empowered to make sustainable changes in their workplace. About 43% said that they don't know. 15% said no. Some of the barriers people responded are very similar, actually, to a lot of people working in this area worldwide. So reasons like there's limited capacity in their full-time job to think about this. There's not funding for it, and they don't hold the budget, so there's no authority to implement the changes. So we started thinking as a working group, how do we empower our pharmacists, our members, to be able to be confident to make that change? Next slide, please. So first steps, in order to be empowered, we need to know what is it we're asking people to do. So we decided number one priority is definitely to raise awareness amongst EAHP members. So for 2 years now, we recorded and published some videos to highlight this topic on particularly on World Environment Day. And this is one of the videos is available on the EAHP YouTube channel. And the working group also met up every 2 months to discuss, what we should be focusing on next. We wrote a report, which was mentioned earlier. So we'll look at research areas that people have been working on and encourage collaboration, not just between pharmacy professionals, but between cross-sector multidisciplinary team, because the doctors are working on this, the nurses are working on this, so we cannot be left behind. So we're thinking next how to engage members with this topic even more. And Berta mentioned earlier that we'll have a new website and a discussion forum that might be created. We can have fruitful discussions through the website on what other people are working on and have a great idea forum, if you like, to empower pharmacists to take on this subject and work in their workplace. Next slide, please. So there are many campaigns and resources out there already for hospital pharmacists, but how do we bring them all together? So hospital pharmacists, for example, in New Zealand, Ireland, UK, and some European countries are working to decommission the use of desflurane, which is an anesthetic gas used in theaters, operations, and desflurane lives in our atmosphere for 14 years in comparison to another alternative called sevoflurane, which is only 1.1 years. So you know the difference in kind of environmental impact by just that switch in procurement of gases that we use. Obviously, we have to discuss this with the multidisciplinary team in theatres, so our anesthetic colleagues, medicines procurement team, and obviously pharmacists have a role to play in this. Waste and recycling is always what people will think about first, and try to work on this first because it's so visible, right? Waste is everywhere and we want to do something about it. But actually, if you look at the overall carbon footprint and in the papers published, waste only account for maybe like 2% of the overall healthcare carbon footprint. Campaigns like gloves off, so don't use gloves when you unnecessarily, basically, is the campaign that is launching worldwide in healthcare. So we'll make our pharmacists aware that they don't need to wear gloves when handling normal medicines. So not there's some medicines you have to wear PPE, but normal medicines we don't have to wear gloves. And giving vaccinations we don't have to wear gloves. And we mentioned the EAHP Boost event last month and the Synergy Masterclass in Brussels next month. Congress next year features the use of automation robots. So this is important in stock management because it can reduce the risk of stockpiling medicines, the risk of medicines going out to date and therefore expiring, going to waste. The robot does stock rotation, first in and first out. So there's no relying on human to kind of do that. So there's implementation of reusable sharps bin, reusable cytotoxic bins in aseptic units as a way to reduce single-use plastics. The prescribing agenda. So as pharmacists, we're expert in medicines again. We need to talk to patients about compliance, appropriate medicines used to maximize their health benefits, reducing waste, and polypharmacy. Next slide, please. And some EAHP sustainability working group members have contributed to international policy changes in this area already. So this is the first one is International Federation of Pharmacists FIP Environment Policy Statement that some of us worked together to publish at their FIP Congress 2 years ago in Australia. And a new EAHP position paper on procurement presented at GA in Valencia this year also included a section on procuring medicines and medical devices more sustainably, working with our pharmaceutical industry partners. So we are making some background influence, background changes, policies in this area already since the working group has been formed. Next slide, please. In March this year, I have the privilege of being invited by EAHP to Bordeaux. It was my first ever EAHP Congress, and I can't believe I haven't attended the last 10 years in my career. So the Sustainability Working Group met for the very first time in person after we've been meeting on Zoom for 2 years. And I went to many talks on environmental sustainability, which really opened my eyes to what other countries are already working on. And I always thought that this is what English people will always say, we were the best in the policy. So I always thought UK was leading on this. But actually, I went to presentations from Finland, from Spain, from Netherlands. They are so far ahead of us in some of these areas in how they're procuring medicines more sustainably, how they run their operations differently to reduce waste. And I encourage you to check out the posters on them. Excuse me, I need to cough. Excuse me. I encourage you to check out on the posters on EAHP website this year because there are very interesting subjects that I haven't even thought about, particularly a subject on reusing oral anti-cancer drugs that came out from Netherlands. So there's a talk on it in the Congress as well that was very interesting. We had some great discussions at Congress with a great keynote speaker highlighting this very important subject matter as well. So 2 years after we set up the EAHP working group, next slide, Berta. And 2 years after we set up the working group, so what did we actually achieve? So we put them all in this report. This has been outlined and published in our first report to GA this year. We collated multiple great case studies from different countries, highlighting opportunities for innovation, for research, for members to consider implementing in their respective countries. We linked up with scientists, with pharma industries, who we were never linked up with before. But because of this subject of interest, we have a common interest. We are opening new doors, new friendships, new collaborations, and new funding opportunities. So what next then? Next slide, please. So what does the Sustainability Working Group want to do next? So we aim to continue to collaborate with more stakeholders of similar interests, seeming that everybody seems to be working on this agenda now, to see how we can actually revolutionize hospital pharmacy to be more sustainable. And awareness is very low still, I find. So when you talk about this subject, some people are very far ahead. Some people are still, on day one. So we need to probably make a more effort to embed sustainability in our policy documents, in events we host, and the principles on how we operate as an organization going forward in respective countries. And if possible, we're hoping we can contribute to EU level, international level policy changes on sustainable healthcare through our existing connections and partners in EAHP. We want to continue sharing good practice. So there's a Dutch Greener Pharmacy Toolkit that has recently been published and which looks really excellent and very detailed. In the UK, we're also publishing a web platform for hospital pharmacies to undertake self-assessment, to accredit themselves on different criteria to come out as bronze, silver, or gold level sustainable pharmacy, which is launching early next year, which I can share with anyone who's interested. I think that's the end of my slide. So yeah, and hopefully that gives you a summary of what the Sustainability Working Group has been working on and kind of background information in this area. If anyone is interested, please get in touch with the working group. And if anyone is interested in collaborating, and please get in touch as well.
Thank you so much, Mina, for your presentation. I'm going to actually, now that you mentioned this, Mina, I'm going to drop my email on the chat. And in case anyone wants to join to the sustainability working group, they can just send me an email. Normally what we ask is the CV and a short motivation letter to get to know you a little bit more, to get to know you better. And then Mina, with the help of Barry, will probably assess your candidature and we'll get in touch with you. I want to open the floor. I don't know if anyone else wants to intervene, but I also wanted to open the floor for questions. Yes, Barry, go ahead.
Thanks, Berta. Less of a question, maybe additional things to add on to Mina's excellent presentation. Sustainability is more than carbon. Carbon is obviously incredibly important, and all of us looking at the hurricanes in around Florida at the moment, but also the huge impact on health services that we've seen with the wildfires in Greece over the last number of years. You know, climate change and environmental pollution from pharmaceuticals is a real problem. And whilst certain parts of Europe may be less affected, we are all seeing the effect in terms of some of the changes in disease patterns, and as Mina correctly identified, some of the issues around respiratory disease. So I think it's really important that people feel that you can make a change. You may not start with changing how your hospital procures medicines, but I think the challenge for us in the working group is to try and make that journey a little bit easier and to help people to network. An observation just from this week, I attended a European meeting where colleagues who are involved in sustainability and particularly around ecotoxicology and water and the impacts of pharmaceuticals therein are really keen to work with EAHP. They see EAHP as a really important group to get involved with and to take that learning and very importantly, understand how your local context and your local cultural requirements need to be reflected in what is being there, because what works really well in Scotland, where I'm currently based, may be very different to requirements for what may work really well in Greece or Algeria or France or Spain. And that's absolutely fine. But I think one of the key challenges for us within the working group is to help you along your journey. But remember, every small step is important. And as we've said in Bordeaux, and I think Mina was sick of me saying it, environmental sustainability, both personally, professionally, and as a society, is something that builds slowly. And once you start, you'll find you're able to make much more change. So I'm really proud of EAHP for the leadership role that you're playing in this. I think we've got lots of work to do. It is not a quick win. It will take many, many years and many, many decades. The evidence, the understanding of what the right thing to do is imperfect at best. But we can use things like the precautionary principle to think about, well, if this is likely to do harm, should we be doing it? And really interesting what Pedro was saying around the AI piece. Really interested in seeing how we in EAHP can cross all these different policy areas and hopefully put sustainability in the middle, noting that sometimes the linkages can be a little bit tenuous, but still really important. So thank you, EAHP, and thank you to the membership of our working group. It would be nothing if it was just myself and Mina, and we look forward to other people joining if they feel they can contribute. Thanks, Bertha.
Thank you so much, Barry. Yeah, actually, I wanted to add along what Barry was saying. I've been involved with the working group on sustainability from the staff perspective, And I can only say that it's a very motivated group. They're very, very engaging. They participate. They always come up with new campaigns, with new initiatives, with new ideas. They learn a lot from each other. And I think we are currently like almost around 25 members or something like this. So yes, I hope more people apply. We were also looking to arrive to more countries in Europe. So hopefully we'll get there. Do we have any more questions? Or not questions, remarks, something you want to comment on? It's your moment. This is always the awkward moment of the online meetings.
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. I was called away the last 10 minutes, so perhaps someone already said it, but I want to compliment you with multi-vendor SIG on interoperability on automation. I think that's a very good initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know if Pedro wants to add something, but I think we will be publishing way more things regarding this SIG. Go ahead, Pedro.
Indeed, it's a very important project. We are still it's still a baby. We are still in the first steps, agglomerating the vendors that will participate, and also the hospital pharmacists, which are fundamental on this. Particularly in this first phase, so this first project will be within the mindset of an hospital pharmacist. So your problems will be the first step of this new SIG. So how do you perceive your limitations? How do you see that it will be transformative? How to collaborate with the so. It's very important from the perspective of the hospital pharmacists in this first phase. So I really want all of you that are interested in this SIG to really send your CV and your motivation letter, and we will give feedback on that to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll do my best for someone from the Netherlands.
Berta, may I just comment if there are no questions? I just want to thank Mina and Barry for a wonderful presentation, and it was very efficient and covered all the topics. I just want to have a few remarks because we have to be aware of this huge milestone. Usually when discussion around sustainability is taking place at many fora across Europe, sometimes, as Mina mentioned, usually it covers nurses and physicians. And it's extremely important for us to use this report that the working group created and to use the expertise of the working group. So whenever there is a meeting, a virtual one or in person across Europe, we should try to promote the results of the study. I would just like to mention Jennifer Collins from Healthcare Without Harm. Last year, there was a meeting about antimicrobial waste and things like that. And what struck me was the lack of information that they received from hospital pharmacists because they are managing and carrying out antimicrobial stewardship in their hospital. So I would strongly advise the working group and everyone who is interested in continuing and pursuing more projects within this to increase their visibility and to use every single chance in media, newspapers, virtual interviews, whatever, to promote the results of the study. And another comment is more about the what Pedro mentioned about ECFA. We really would like to convey the message, and I will repeat what Pedro said. ECFA is in an early stage of development, and I think we should be very proud to be the founding member of ECFA, but we really need reviewers. For the moment, ECFA has 5 reviewers. I will just compare ECFA with the UMS, which is the same association, but comprised of physicians. They have 243 reviewers. Obviously, we won't have 243 reviewers in a week, but it would be really nice that those colleagues who have competency and expertise in certain areas send their CV and motivation letter, or at least CV to Pedro or me, so we can expand the network of reviewers. And I would also like to invite you to reach out to your national accreditation authorities in your member countries and check how they accredit their events, because ECFA is accrediting events all over Europe. We also have submissions from international, from countries outside of Europe. So it would be really great to move on with the accreditation of the national events, because ECFA is raising the quality of program, and also it increases the awareness of what you want to present to your region, to your country, to your fellow colleagues. So these two comments I would really like to convey. And once again, I'm really congratulating to all working group members, and I really hope that the working group will continue publishing interesting facts. And sorry, I'm too long, but I've heard a very interesting fact that Mina mentioned. And I think that the members would be very grateful if in the next stages of your work, you may try to publish a list of medicines. You mentioned sevoflurane and desflurane. I think that if hospital pharmacists had known that sevoflurane stays in atmosphere 1.1 year and desflurane 14 years, I think they would definitely try to change the procurement strategies and to influence the policy of their hospital. So please continue your work and help us to make our life more sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you, Nenad, for your words. I will ask it once again. Does anyone want to comment anything, want to ask anything? It's your moment. We have staff here, board here, coordinators of the working group. I don't think that's the case. Well, I can only encourage again to submit your applications. The next meeting of the working group, it's going to be held probably end of October, mid-October. So it's your moment to send your CVs. So we have time to revise them. And thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Thank you everyone who listened. Thank you, the board. Thank you, Mina. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, my colleagues from the staff. And we hope to see you again in the next webinar. Yes.
See you soon.
Thank you, Mina.
Thank you. Have a
Peace.
lovely evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.